Good evening, friends. This is Sheelu from Women's Collective. I'm going to share our views on food crisis and hunger today. I represent an organization called Women's Collective, which is working in 21 districts in Tamil Nadu, focusing on food security of the rural families at the household level. Just to get a global picture about the food crisis, the global report on food crisis for 2023 states that nearly 82.8 crores people go hungry every day. And there is acute hunger in 58 countries. In India, there are about 20 crore people who are undernourished, which is nearly a quarter of the world's hunger burden. 43% of the children are chronically undernourished. I'm just giving you this background just to understand the situation in which Women's Collective decided to focus on this food security. India ranks 68 out of the 113 major countries in terms of food security index. When we say food security, it is defined as the state of having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. The fact is now food is available, but whether the food is affordable is a question. And the second is there is sufficient quantity of food which is available through public distribution system. Again, the question is whether that quantity that is nutritious, whether that food is nutritious. Now, coming to the hunger situation, India is ranked 107 out of 121 countries in terms of hunger index. It was 101 last year. Now it has slipped down again by 6. So it is 107 this year. When I say last year, it is 2021. Now 2022, it is 107 out of 121 countries. And hunger is defined as a feeling of discomfort or weakness caused by lack of food. That when people don't eat, they feel weak. In order to address this, India enacted the Food Security Bill in 2013, which seeks to provide food grains to approximately 2/3 of Indian population. As you know, after independence, India was really having a problem to address the food crisis at that time. And so that is why we started the Green Revolution with the hybrid variety of cultivation and all that. But now through the FCI procurement of these grains, the major grains like paddy and wheat from across the country, India is able to provide food grains through the public distribution system. But unfortunately, each state, the practice is different. In Tamil Nadu, the government gives 20 kgs of free rice. So there is universal food distribution. I understand that in Karnataka also, the present government has promised that they would give free rice. But the food security bill actually promised that they would provide rice at 3 rupees, wheat at 2 rupees, and millet at 1 rupee. But most of the states are not following this. As you know, every adult woman requires 2,000 kilocalories of energy and men requires 2,500 kilocalories of energy per day. which actually depends on the age, metabolism, and the level of physical activity, among the other minor things. But every adult requires at least 1,200 calories per day just for the body to do its basic function, like the circulatory system to work, the digestive system to work, the nervous system to work. It requires that basic 1,200 calories. The calculation is that when we say that the people are hungry, what we are trying to say is that they are not even getting that 1,200 kilocalories of energy from the food that they take each day. Now, coming to the Tamil Nadu reality, Tamil Nadu, the state in which we are working, which is the southernmost state, it has the highest percentage of undernourished children in India compared to the Indian average. 48% of the children are stunted. That is, they do not have the height for their age. And 18% of the children are wasted. That is, that they do not have the weight for their height. Nearly 52.2% of the children are anemic. And 2 out of every 5 pregnant women in Tamil Nadu suffer from iron deficiency. The research have shown that they do not have the micronutrients that are needed to absorb iron in the iron tablets which are given by the health department. But today, the government has gone one more step to provide fortified rice in the PDS system. Again, the fortified rice has vitamins and iron, which are chemical based. And so there again, the absorption problem is a very big question mark. There are no research which says that the fortified rice is going to be beneficial to these people who are poor and hungry. In Tamil Nadu, 80% of the women are involved in farming activity, although only 10% own land. The other women are landless farm laborers who depend on agricultural labor for their livelihood. Tamil Nadu is one of the fast urbanized state. Nearly 52% of the state is urbanized. Industrialization is also catching up, which is really attracting the able-bodied men out of the villages. So the women in the village are left behind to look after the old, the sick, and the younger ones. So we can clearly see a feminization of farming activity in the rural villages of Tamil Nadu. However, the government has not recognized women as farmers. Non-recognition of women as farmers leave them inaccessible to credit facilities that are available for other farmers, which means the other landowners. The another issue which is of concern is the food wastage. In the world level, food wastage is a major issue. They say that out of the production, 1/3 of the produced food is really wasted, which is nearly 2.5 billion tons, which is worth $213 billion of food is wasted every year. The produced food is wasted every year. In India, we know that in the public distribution system, the food travels minimum of 500 kilometers before it reaches the final destination, the final consumer. And 50% of the food is wasted through insect attack, storage in FCI godowns and all that. There are many complaints of the rodent attacks and things like that. Now, having this in mind, we have organized women at the village level to revive the traditional farming system, the traditional seeds, the traditional food system, and the traditional food recipes. Traditional way of storing seeds. We have organized women and created awareness about the situation that I've explained so far, about the not wasting the food, about having healthier diet, the need to address the food security issue at the household level, not depending on the government alone, and to be of help to each other, and to take up agriculture activity because they are the only ones who are left back at the villages. So we create awareness about the situation and facilitate them to cultivate biodiverse crops, including grains, pulses, oil seeds, greens, vegetables, mainly to address the food security issue at the household level. We are not producing market, looking at the market, because most of the women are subsistence farmers. They do not own land, and so we facilitate them to lease out land from absentee landlords who have found some work somewhere and who have left the village and left their land fallow. Either they lease out land individually or in small groups and produce food. We also organize landless single women, widows, deserted women into smaller collectives who lease out land and focus on food production. The cash crop cultivators like sugarcane cultivators, cotton cultivators are also facilitated to shift to climate resilient millet cultivation. So over the years, more than 1,000 acres of land is being shifted to millet cultivation. So they are the new millet cultivators. Maybe that in these lands 50, 60 years back, millet was cultivated, and then people shifted to cash crop cultivation. Now, as they are losing, they're not earning much from the cash crop, so they're shifting back to food production. And the other thing is also there is a lot of inflation, which is making people to return back to food production. The women normally share the produce among themselves when they cultivate together. And when they have excess, they share it with the other group members within the village or nearby village for any other produce which they don't produce. I think last year I also shared with you that we encourage people to cultivate anywhere between 20 to 30 different kinds of crops, because the climate variation is so much that even if they lose 4 or 5 crops, the other crops will support them. So because of that, we always going for multi-crop cultivation, and also ensure that there is a mixture of grains, pulses, so that these crops support each other by providing nutrients, micronutrients that each crop requires. If they have excess on market days, they take it to the local market. The local markets are some of the district headquarters with the support of the collectorate. We have some of the natural farmers have formed what is called Namad Sandai. So they formed their own market, which meets once in a week. So on those near those market days, if they have excess of any crop, they go to the market and exchange it for any other produce which they may need. And our advocacy with the government is that we are suggesting decentralized procurement and storage and distribution at the village level, which would provide employment opportunities at the village level. So instead of purchasing paddy and wheat from faraway states, purchase at the local villages whatever is available, construct godowns, storage godowns at the mini storage godowns at the village level or at the panchayat level, so that the local youth will be employed and they won't migrate from the village because searching for employment opportunity. So the food which is cultivated, which is stored locally, which is distributed locally, will be much more nutritious than the food which it travels 500 kilometers and stored by using chemicals to do away with the pests and things like that. So that is something which we are advocating. There's a long way to go in this advocacy work, but this is something which we are trying to impress on the government to take up this decentralized storage facilities. This will also help in minimizing the food wastage, which is the major issue now. The women farmers overcome this by diversification of produce, sharing of produce, reviving traditional storage methodologies, value addition to produce if they have excess, and sales at the local market. Each district has their own style. For example, in Ranipet, the district collectorate has provided space. In Thiruvallur, district collectorate has provided space. In Tiruvannamalai, the local farmers have fixed one particular common area where they can meet every Wednesday to share their produce. In Dindigul, they have got a space in the local market where they can exhibit their produce and get. So each district has its own. They have found their own way of distribution and exchange markets. We also facilitate women to store grains for the whole year. Instead of selling it, we facilitate them to store grains so that they have enough food throughout the year. So the food inflation issue is sorted out by using these exchange methods. This is something which is very major. As you all know that the corona period, the COVID pandemic has really put them into a great risk. But the farmers overcome that very well, because farming activity was the only activity which was allowed during the lockdown period. So majority of the farmers did not have any problem during this period. And they also had their local sandai to distribute and also to exchange the produce. So that I can straight away say that the inflation was not a very big issue for them. But all these people are now have shifted to use of gas. Just for example, I'm saying. So the gas which they got 10 years back, where they were able to buy for 400, now they have to spend more than 1,300. So they have to really spend 50% of the income for the food consumption, other than what they are cultivating. So because of this, they are shifting back to the traditional method of cooking. So using mud pots, using firewood and things like that. So the other thing what we are trying to do, we have not really still succeeded in this, is trying to have common kitchen at the village level. Because if most of the families are women-headed, and if there are no men around, so we encourage women to come together to have cook common kitchen, so that their workload is reduced and it is easy for them to do other work. So this is something, a dream which we have. This is something which we are discussing, encouraging people to do. Of course, we know that there is a long way to go. We are trying to introduce a concept called feminist economy at the rural level, where economy is centered around the production. I mean, when we say feminist economy, we don't mean that economy is controlled and ruled by women. What we mean is that it is controlled, instead of being controlled and ruled by market, instead of producing what the market needs, instead of producing for the market, instead of going in by the market orientation, because when there is a little price hike for tomato, everybody shifts to tomato. If there is a little price hike for onion, then everybody shifts to onion. Instead of that, we are facilitating people to cultivate different crops, all the crops that they require, all the food, all the kinds of food that they require at their family level, and not for market. So this is non-market oriented economy is what we mean by feminist economy, not money oriented, but food based, like the earlier days that they exchange food grains. So this is something which we are trying to work, and we are linking with the international groups to learn from other sisters across the globe and to carry out the functions that we are doing. So this is an example. What you are seeing is an example of a seed stored in one particular family. So you can see that they have festival for that. They preserve the seed, they take out the seed, they celebrate it before actually going in for before the cultivation period. So this is what they try to do. Yeah, this is the model what we are trying to create. And I hope our experience, I have made it clear. If there is any question, I am willing to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sheelu, for the detailed presentation. Now I'll take up some questions. Okay. So first question is, in your experience, how have women farmers played a crucial role in ensuring food security and resilience during times of crisis?
Yeah, I think that's the point I was trying to make earlier also. During the pandemic period, the women farmers actually had enough food, and they were also able to provide food for others in the village. For example, from their collective farm, when they had a crop of, let's say, about 50 kgs of brinjal, at that time during lockdown, people were not able to go out. There were no markets. People did not have access to any vegetables and things like that. But these women farmers had access, and so they were able to share the excess production that they had at the village level. So they and also the grains, they were able to give share the grains what they had. The grains which that they had stored, they were able to share the grains. And again, when we had floods, the floods are very local floods these days. So when in some areas when there was a flood, when people lost everything, again the farmers from the other area were able to support these women who lost their fields completely. They share when they lost even their seeds. So the other farmers from the other districts were able to share the seeds with them. So like that, there is a lot of sisterhood among the farmers. The farmers, state level federation of the farmers is called the Kalandiam Women Farmers Federation. So they were able to support each other in this way.
Okay. Next question is, can you share some insights into the specific challenges that women farmers face when it comes to addressing food crisis?
The major for the basic thing for food is land, water, and seed. These are the basic three things. Even if people are willing to work, they should have basic land, and they should have water facilities, and then they should have proper seeds. So these are the three things that people require. So this is the education what we are trying to do. So the land, currently people are leasing out land and they are trying to do cultivate. When they don't have land, we encourage people to take up kitchen gardening and roof gardening. We encourage even children to take up kitchen gardening and roof gardening. We encourage children to use the school grounds to cultivate food. So wherever there is a little soil, we encourage them to cultivate food. So because we have made them to understand that food is going to be a major issue. It's not my statement, because people say by 2030 there is going to be a very big food crisis in India, that Indians have to spend majority of the Indians have to spend nearly 75% of their earning in for purchasing food. By 2050, even if you have money, you cannot purchase food. There won't be food available because of the industrialization and urbanization. The land will be marginalized totally, and there won't be any land for food production. So that is a kind of information which we are getting. And so we educate women about the importance of food production, and that too using traditional seeds. They need to preserve the traditional seeds. So we encourage women to revive the traditional seeds. So whatever seeds which are available, traditional seeds which are available with the local farmers, we facilitate them to produce more and to share it with the other farmers. So, for example, if I get some 10 seeds of different vegetables this time, when I return 20 seeds to the person who gave me. So like that, there is always a chain of traditional seed sharing. So this is something we encourage women to preserve, to revive, to preserve, and to share those seeds. And then, of course, water, I mean, only if it rains, then they can use. But however, we facilitate women not to lose the little rainwater what they get. So maximum water management system, we have taught them the water management system. So whether it is bunding, or whether it is, bunding across the slope, planting of trees in the fence instead of having live fence, all those things, kind of things, small things which would help in save the little water that we have. And each farmer would have a farm pond in one corner of the lowest corner of the land that they have. Even if they have only 15 or 20 cents of land, we make sure that there is a farm pond, small farm pond, where they can collect water, facilitate the water storage there. So these are some of the things which we encourage, because they know, at least our members very clearly know, that food is a major issue, and having food security at the household level is very, very important, and that too, nutritious food security is very important. So that is why we always talk about cultivation of millets, pulses, oil seeds, greens, and vegetables, and inclusion of all these things in their regular food. in different forms and avoiding all these fast foods, soft drinks, all those things. So we educate them about the alternatives. That is why I was talking about the recipes, the traditional recipes. So we conduct recipe competition. We conduct safe food classes at the schools, colleges. We run competitions at schools and colleges also, recipe competitions. So as a community, we are trying to build them to a community which is food secure, which is not dependent on the open market for food in the long run, that they would have enough production at their own level and that they don't have to depend on the open market and they don't have to depend on cash transaction. So they don't have to worry about 2,000 and 5,000.
Okay. So next question, are there any notable examples or success stories of women farmers successfully navigating food crises and contributing to their community's food needs?
Yeah, because last year, one of the collective group was selected at the Tamil Nadu level and they were awarded a cash prize of 1 lakh rupees for their creative model that they had created food security by Tamil Nadu Organic Farmers Association. The same way, the Indian level land rights association also gave an award to selected one of the farmer and gave an award of 10,000 rupees, because there are a lot of examples where the examples are from different districts. If people are interested, they can actually visit us, meet them, and share and get direct knowledge from them straight away. We also facilitate visits by outsiders, exchange visit by outsiders to gain knowledge from the farmers and also for the farmers to gain knowledge from the outsiders' experience. Model, I mean, when you ask for a model, do you want me to tell the village name? I mean, is that what you are looking for?
Not exactly. You can just share some experiences about this.
See, as I told you, we are focusing on always we are focusing on collective farming. We don't encourage single. Even if the family is doing, we encourage the joint families, all the family members together to cultivate. One of our farmer from Thoothukudi district, before becoming our member, she was they were cultivating cotton, and they had about 13 acres of dry land. But the 13 out of the 13 acres of dry land, only 6 acres was useful because they had the power lines passing through their land, and so they were unable to use the rest of the land. So after she became the member of our collective, undergoing all the education and all that, she was impressed by the way she was taken for an exchange visit to Dharmapuri to see the farmers cultivating there. So she was encouraged, and then she decided to do multi-cropping and food production. So she went back. She convinced her family members, her husband's family. The land belongs to her husband's brother and sister, mother, father, all of them. Totally, there are about 12 members in the family. They own 13 acres of land, and they decided to cultivate this land. And today, they have about 35 different crops over the years. they have increased the land. I mean, initially they started cultivating 2 acres, then they added 2 more acres like that. Now they have covered all the 13 acres. They have done the water management thing, that is bunts across the land, all by physical work of the family members. And they cultivate 35 different crops. Because they cultivate 13 acres and 35 different crops, they have also 2 farm ponds in their land, within their land, where they store water, and they cultivate vegetables and greens around the farm ponds. So if the greens path require water, then from the farm pond they take water and irrigate it. So like that they have done it, and they have enough. It's not only that they have enough, they also earn enough. That I think their last year's income was some 3 lakhs plus one year's grain storage for the whole family, 1 year's pulses storage for the whole family, 1 year's oil seeds storage for the whole family, plus earnings. They have also purchased goats now. So they have, I think they have some 23 or 24, I don't know the exact number now, number of goats. And that goat droppings they use for their fertilizing their own land. So that is the main source of fertilizer what they use. And actually the family was selected for exchange visit to Meghalaya by the National Millet Network of India. Millet Network of India focuses on millet cultivation. So since they were not cultivating millet, now they have started cultivating millet. So they were selected. She was selected, and she attended the meeting at Meghalaya to share her experience of her cultivation and her experience of cultivating different crops, experience of storing these seeds, and addressing the pandemic situation, how it was, how she felt proud to share the produce with the other members in the village who did not have access to food and all that. So that's one of the example which I can give. There are umpteen number of example like that, but since she has 13 acres, since it is a joint family which is involved in cultivating, I thought I can share that.
Okay. So next question is, what are some of the innovative strategies or practices that women farmers have employed to overcome food crisis situations?
Okay, the main thing is multiple crop. The main strategy that they use is multiple crop. Because, these days, because of the climate change, you get suddenly one day you get so many centimeters of rainfall. And then after that 1 month, it is totally dry. There is no water available. So the multi-cropping actually has helped them, because they do lose a lot of crops these days because of the local hails and things like that. The other issue is the wildlife. Peacock, wild boar, all this is also an issue. So to address this, they cultivate multi-crop, and so in that way, they try to address their food crisis. Then they also cultivate flowers as a border, mainly as a insect repellent, but the flowers also fetches them some money when they sell it in the market. So that is an thing what they are trying to do. And they also cultivate shrubs which are used for wood as fence, uh, which serves as a windscreen. So it blocks the wind, because most of them are in uh, water catchment area. So it is plains, it is dry. And so when the wind is heavy, then they lose the topsoil, and they also lose the crop. So because of that, they also have windbreaker suspense. Uh, then they have a bunding. They cultivate on special bunds, and they crop pairing. They do crop pairing when they cultivate a non-legume vegetable. Then they make sure that there is a legume nearby. So crop pairing is something which they try to do, and they share labor. When a group has a harvest, when decide to harvest, and they feel that it's going to rain, and they cannot complete their harvest on that particular day, then they request the neighboring group to come and share labor, and then they help them when they require labor. So sharing of labor between them is another strategy, which so that they don't lose any food.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just a couple of more questions. How does gender inequality impact women farmers' ability to access resource and support during food crisis? And what can be done to address this issue?
See, land, I told you that ownership of land is a major issue, because even the Tamil Nadu government, they don't provide farmers ID card to women farmers, because they don't land. For people who are doing leasing land also, they don't get farmers ID card. So this is an issue which we have taken up, recognition as farmers and issue of farmers ID card. To some extent, in some districts, we are successful in getting the Kisan credit card. So with the Kisan credit cards, they are able to get credit. The other way, what we have tried to do is, we also have small savings groups. People save money and share credit from among them, instead of going to larger credit owners. Instead of going to the microfinance agency, they from their own savings that they share. So these are the ways that they're trying to overcome. The other thing, another thing is, I was talking about the land. We also has requested the revenue authorities to give us government land for long lease for food production. This is something, it's a long pending request from us. The government of Tamil Nadu has come out with an organic farming policy recently. We have contributed a lot to that, but still what we have asked has not figured out in that. So that is something which we are insisting on the government to include, and to give land for food production, whether they are men or women. If they are willing to produce food, then, and also to start a land bank. Because nowadays we are going to find out land, about absentee landlords, and finding them out where they are and requesting for land. If they can deposit this land to the land banks, then the landless agriculture, the farmers can go and loan out land and cultivate in that. So that is something which we are requesting the government. That is another long-standing demand we have, and that's an advocacy work that we are trying to. And inclusion of millets in rations. Government has added millets in 2 of the districts. We want millet to be added in all the districts. instead of fortified rice.
Okay. So now we have the last question. Can you highlight the importance of women's knowledge, skills, and traditional practices in building resilience and finding solutions during food crisis?
See, the family food need is always addressed by women. Whatever said and done, whether women are employed outside or they are employed locally, when it comes to food, it is the women who provides food. Men may earn and give the cash, but it is the women who provides food. So the family health is in the hands of women. So and traditionally, it's women have the knowledge of using traditional recipes and things like that. So at the time of crisis, when food is not available, particularly during a lockdown period, when food was not available, then it is again the women who went out to look for uncultivated vegetables and greens and fruits. That was available in plenty. So again, they went back because they had the traditional knowledge. So they were able to revive that knowledge. So today we talk so much about uncultivated food. That is another greens and vegetables which are added in the food plate, uncultivated thing. So this knowledge is there with the older women. So it's only reviving that knowledge, facilitating younger women to learn from the older women through participatory learning methods, and to ensure that they are able to address the crisis situation. Because the women basically has got this knowledge of addressing all crises in the family, when it comes to food or when it comes to the children's requirement, the old people, the people who are ill, sick. So everybody's need is being adjusted, being met. Everybody is pacified. Whatever is available is shared between these people. So that women naturally has got the capacity. Our role is only to facilitate that capacity, to revive that capacity, because the modern world has made them to forget that and to move on to the fast market oriented thing. So it is only to go back, revive that methods, facilitate them to learn that methods from their own culture, from their own old people, elders, and revive the same, and to record the same in the locally available way, so that the knowledge is being shared to others.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for a very detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.